So there was a guy I think in the '60s in Great Britain, David Pye, and he wrote this beautiful little book. It's I think is only paperback, but it is the art and nature of workmanship, I think. And I think he invented this thought or this term, and he would compare and contrast workmanship of risk with workmanship of certainty. And he spoke, and so think of workmanship of certainty as a table saw or a shaper that's jigged up, and every time you introduce a board you're going to get exactly the same profile. Or you can expand that to modern, the industrial revolution was all about making everything into workmanship of certainty. You have a machine, you input the commodity, the finished material comes out the other end with no more human interaction than that. But workmanship of risk is, think of an elaborate wood carving, or you're blacksmithing a project, or you're framing a house. Everything you do has the risk of catastrophic failure based on your workmanship. And the more work you input, like think of a really nice carving or a carved piece of art, or okay, Michelangelo's David. Okay, he's chiseling away at that block, and the more labor he invests, the more the likelihood of a sudden catastrophic slip increases, until for the final 10% of the work, it's all on the line with every blow. That's workmanship of risk. And so the whole idea, so this David Pye talked about people that set up manufacturing facilities, and he would have and probably should have included construction carpenters as the last refuge of workmanship of risk. Everything's a prototype. You don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if this is going to be right until you're done. And then once you're done, the certainty enters, and everybody that comes after benefits from your risk taking. And so anyhow, I've loved and continue to love that idea. And I tell myself as I go, okay, this is workmanship of risk. Pay attention. And then you try to systemize it, become systematic, and reduce it to workmanship of certainty. So the guy coming behind you can read your layout and stage the material appropriately, and the scaffolding is safe. And it's just an interesting way to think about a blue collar work effort.
Yeah, I mean, I like that concept, and I think the place you could go with it from a big picture would be, how could you take your construction project, which might be 30% risk, right? How do you move it into move more of it into the management of certainty?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
As you do that, profitability goes up.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Mistakes go down. Productivity goes up. You anticipate quantities. Waste falls off. And so as you get into certainty, profit goes up, and work satisfaction goes down. At least it always did for me. In fact, my partner, Cy Swan, you'll see he's more than a partner. He's my blacksmithing mentor and friend. That wonderful old Renaissance man, will intentionally input risk into almost everything he does. And it makes me crazy, because he will intentionally, and I think it's somewhat subliminal, but if there's not an element of risk, if there's not the possibility of getting hurt or hurting the work, he loses interest. And it's just an interesting sort of a personality aspect that he has. And I haven't met many people like him.